Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a quick review impressions of a knife that was given to me along in our pass around. This is the Kunwu Knives Chad. A really cool knife that I missed out on, but I wish I had gotten a chance to check out. Let's go ahead and jump into this and see what we got. I think you'll find this really interesting. This was a special run, something that they did and limited. I think they're planning to do it again, but this particular production was a challenge. They used, in this particular steel, you can see it right there, PM60 steel on this Chad. PM60 steel, which I missed last time. And the name of the knife is called a Chad. It is an Axis crossbar lock. It's got these cool thumb studs, which I think is really cool. The design is an Kunwu design. The guy who owns Kunwu, he's the one who designs these things. And so that is the name of that designer. I think the guy's name? Oh, I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But anyways, really, really cool design. So this knife is currently sold out, but I think there's plans to maybe make some more and create some more. This does use the crossbar lock, which has Omega springs inside. These are like little thumb studs that work on the crossbar lock itself right here. Right here. So this goes back like this, as you can see. And so you can release and open and close it like that. So that's the open deployment along with the thumb studs. With thumb studs works really nicely for a nice deployment. This little cutaway with the beautiful, you can see the texture, the diamond pattern, which is really phenomenal. But there's also a texture pattern right here along the edge, which is really, really nice. And you'll see that over here on the top. This is just a really nice aesthetic little touch there. That's on both sides. I think it's really cool. I love its captive pivot. Like the design on the pivot. I think that's cool. It's got a mill titanium clip. It is reversible, as you can see, and it's one of these that can work with a wire clip. So if you would like a wire clip, you could absolutely do that. But it's lefty or right-handed kind of carry. So you could do left-handed tip up, right-handed tip up very nicely. It is nicely dead centered. It's got a beautiful blade to handle ratio right there. It uses just the majority of it all the way, almost like you could almost touch it, but just, as close as you're going to get without cutting yourself. So it's really fantastic. It is a pretty robust, heavy knife. When you flick it open, you'll see that it has a steel liner. So the titanium's been relieved, but there's a steel liner that you have to account for the Omega springs and how that works in there. It's got two standoffs right back here. It looks like all T8 screws all the way around, including, even including the middle deep pocket carry clip. I think, though, this is T6s. So T6 is on the Axis lock. So that's about the only thing that I wish was different, but it, can't have everything, but still pretty cool. So it works really nicely. This is PM60 blade steel, which is goes for, their goal is between 66 and 69, which is a pretty hard Rockwell hardness. It's not my knife. I can't do any sort of testing with it. Seems incredibly sharp, but it would be, you would get great edge retention. I mean, you're talking like probably a little step above, S110V. You're going to have, it's going to be, the toughness is not going to be, you might have some chipping and things that goes on if you do work with this knife pretty hard, but it'll retain its edge really well. You can choke up. You can see I have large hands, plenty of room for that. So that's really cool. The materials is really nice. Aluminum handles, aluminum clip, steel liners on the inside for the crossbar lock, standoffs in the back, the PM60 sheep's foot blade here. I'm assuming that's what we're going to call this, is sheep's foot. I mean, it's got rounded, it's flat, so technically sheep's foot. Is it a modified, whatever, I'll call it sheep's foot. Let's just go for that, right? It's got a nice wedge, so it allows you for navigating of the cut. It comes to a pretty strong, robust tip. It's not really super pokey, but it's definitely very functional. Can definitely pinch grip, get some nice control cuts there. You're not going to be poking through. You're going to have to go at an angle to poke through that, but I mean, the tip is pretty sharp. It's just not pokey, so you're not going to get into like dog food, cat food, litter, cases of water, mulch, fertilizer, things like that. You're going to have to kind of cut down as opposed to poke in through and go through. So just keep that in mind. I mean, which is fine. I mean, it's a very useful kind of blade, very useful edge. Action's pretty nice. It's a pretty heavy blade. I like this action on this better than the Pulsar because the blade is not as crazy weighty as the Pulsar was. So there you go. Closes nicely. I believe it is on ceramic caged bearings, which is really, really nice. It gives you a good action. You're not on phosphor bronze, so I do enjoy that quite a bit. All right, so let's do a little measurements on this knife. Let's see how much this guy weighs. So it's almost 5 ounces, 4.92 ounces. So it's a pretty heavy knife. Pretty heavy knife, 4.92 ounces. But it's a pretty big knife. So let's measure that. So we're going to be at 8 and I'd say 8 1/4 inches, right? So 8 1/4 inches overall. If you go from here where you'd normally put your hand, you got maybe 3 1/2 inches, 3 3/4, maybe 4 if you go to the edge. If you choke up to this part, you got about 4 1/4 inches, and you could choke up perhaps just a little bit more. You might have 4 1/2 inches. So a lot of room. Let's look at the edge. So you go from the tip to where the handle is, you're about 3 1/2 inches. Now some states will count it to the very tip there because they feel they can sharpen the blade all the way. But if we want to talk about the overall cutting length, we're about 3 3/8. So about 3 3/8 for cutting length. So you have that. All right, so let's look at the blade stock thickness on this guy. What are we looking at? All right, so let's see what we got. So we are at 124 thousandths of an inch, so 0.124 inches. So, relatively thin stock for size of the blade is, I'd say it's a nice compromise. It's not super thin, but it's not super thick. So that's nice. Does help not make the blade overly weighty. So that's cool. All right, so what's the cost on this guy? This guy is $269, and that has to do with the specialty of the steel and the heat treat. That did cost a bit more, and it is made in China, but you make the same type of knife in the USA, it'd be significantly more, especially with all the details you have on here. They are just killing it. I mean, beautiful texture. This diamond pattern works. It's not one that tears up your pant pockets. It's got a clip that works. It has some nice flexibility. You're not going to rip going in and out of your pockets. All the design here, the etching, the milling is really nice. It's got nice chamfering all the way around. No sharp edges here. Even in the clip, it's been rounded just nicely in these corners where you feel like, oh, that might poke, but it doesn't. So, and all these little, like the axis bar lock right here, these little kind of, I don't know what you call them, thumb studs or whatever you want to call it, that's on the crossbar lock, work really nicely. And then the thumb studs here that are attached to the blade work really, really nicely as well. So I like that. I think that's pretty darn cool. All right, so because of that, we are going to look at a knife that is under $300, so it's definitely into the regular realm. It's definitely not a high-end knife, but it's close. It's in the upper tier of the regular end knife. Now, can this be EDC hard use? Yeah, absolutely. It is a crossbar lock, so just keep that in mind. If you're planning to go out and chop woods or trees, get yourself an axe or a fixed blade. Don't use a knife that may fail because of vibration and crazy things. I don't ever recommend that. So if you're going to do that, keep that in mind. Don't abuse your knife. Use the knife what it's intended for. But if you're in a life or death situation, the crossbar lock is pretty solid. It's got that lock bar that goes across the tang of the blade and locks it in place. As long as your Omega springs hold up, you'll be fine, right? And Omega springs rarely fail. I know sometimes they do. I had one finally fail for me after several years owning almost 70, maybe more crossbar locks. Yeah, so there you go. EDC use, absolutely. I think hard use, like I said, with a grain of salt, but definitely could be hard use. Is it a collection piece? For some people, this is absolutely a collection piece because, the steel, sometimes a limited run. So, yeah, it could be a collection piece if you like it, or it could just be a good, beautiful, carry piece. It's up to you. You can make whatever collection piece you want. Do I consider it a collection piece? Probably not. I consider it's more of a user enjoyable knife, right? So the design, the handle, the jimping, everything is really nice. The thumb studs work very nicely. The crossbar lock works really nicely. It drops really well. It's got good action. The cage bearings help it support it really well. You can choke up really nicely. There's no hot spots when I grip. It feels really good. Everything functions and locks in place. There's no blade rock. There's no axis bar lock, so that's really cool. Opening and closing works really, really well, and you can use the crossbar lock just really well as well. Is there a bonus flick? Let's see. Yeah, there is. I can do middle finger reverse bonus flick, so there you go. You kind of get a little bonus flick. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but hey, we'll take it. Let me get back in there. There you go. It's like that. Now, can we do it on the other side? Probably. Let's see. Yeah, we can. So, yeah, okay. All right, it gives you a little extra points there. So, fidget factor. Thumb studs work really well. The crossbar lock studs here, whatever, work really well. And the bonus works really well. So I'm going to give this one surprisingly a 6 because everything works really well. For fidgety factor, you get a 6 out of 10. I mean, could it be more? Yeah, if you had a flipper and top flipper, whatever. But, you know, 6 out of 10 is outstanding. Now, fidgety goodness, I'm going to give this like a... I'm going to give it 100. It's really good. It's really, really good. The Pulsar that I had, I think I gave it like a 90. It wasn't quite 100. It was okay. It was good. It was just not 100. This is very good. This is how I would like it. So if I could get, if they make this knife in another steel or anything, I would love to get it. It's right now it's hard to get. I think it's sold out, but I heard that they might make more. I don't know if they're going to make it the PM60. I would take any type of steel. I like the design itself personally. I think that's really cool. So I'm digging that. Yeah, the opening, closing, everything, all that stuff is just really, really good. So what are my overall thoughts? Do I recommend this? Absolutely, 100%. It's rare that I don't recommend a Kunwu knife. I mean, there's sometimes I'm a little hesitant, but I might still recommend it. The Pulsar was kind of on the edge because it was, you know, I got it to work, but wasn't my favorite. And I didn't carry it a lot because of that. It's still a great knife, don't get me wrong. Big, giant belly of a blade, and some people love that. So, you know, there you go. I like this blade shape just a little bit more, and that's why I'm absolutely recommending this one. Very high, hardly. So there you go. Really cool knife. Definitely worth considering. Something maybe worth keeping in your rotation. If you can get a hold of this or a variant of this, I think it's worth it. All right. So let's just get a nice close look up and kind of look at the blade here. You can see that nice. You can see the milling on here. You get a nice view of that, how it all works together. You could, you know, do the wire clip if you wanted to, and then you have the back with the mill clip. I love how they incorporate that in, and that works really well. So that's stinking cool. Yeah. All right, so that's the knife. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? If you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out. Allows the channel to grow, allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to every one of you. If you've already done that, maybe consider hitting the notification button so you can be notified of future content. I would also be very appreciative of that. Thank you. To all you guys who just watch the videos, like the videos, and subscribe, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do. I wanted to say a big thank you to you. And if you've maybe been thinking about, maybe on the edge, you know, maybe you're on the fence, if you will, would I like to be a channel member? I would love to have you. I don't ever want you to feel obligated, but I would love to have you, and it'd be considered an honor and a privilege to have you, you know, part of this channel as a member. So just know that there's different tiers, low tiers, high tiers, depending on how much you want to, you know, be all in or whatever. And I would appreciate anything, right? That really does help the channel out. That's really allows me to do more things, and especially some of the big giveaways, the 3K, and it looks like we're moving steadily along to 4K. And you probably watched this video, maybe we're already well past that. I don't know, but you know, the channel is growing, and it's thanks to great people like you guys, and love to have you as a channel member supporting the channel. It would be a great honor. There are going to be special once-a-month giveaways. There are special stickers. There are all a bunch of little cool incentives. Check out the membership. Check out the benefits there. Just love to have you. So it would be awesome. Thank you. Hey, if you, you know, if you haven't already, maybe also check me out over on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week.